Welcome. It's been a long time. You're listening to Bandwidth, the voice of Amplifier, and my name is Alec. I want to start off first with an apology. Here at Bandwidth and Amplifier, we have been quite MIA, and that's because I got a job in Atlanta back in November, and we kind of had to scramble and move on a whim, and setting up home base has been quite a task, but we're kind of set up now, so we're trying to get on a more cohesive schedule for you guys, so we apologize for that. On top of that, as you can hear, Daryl's not here with me, obviously, because we're 300 miles away from each other. But this intro is only alone. He participated in this interview with me, so he's coming. Just gotta wait. So about this interview coming up, we interviewed Camilo Perdomo and Evan McIntyre. They're two local artists. Camilo's a visual artist originally from Columbia who lives in Winston-Salem, and Evan is an illustrator based out of Durham. The interview focused on the importance of art and music from an artist's perspective. But, we'll get to that in a little bit. First, some business. Of course, our first order of business is always current. Current is, of course, our segment of All Things NC. We'll give you some news and events across the state. Our first one is going to be on March 11th. We got 3 dates. Sunvolt at the Hawk River Ballroom, Against Me at the Throne Theater, and Jenny Bizet's at King's. Those are all, again, on March 11th. On March 17th, Tortoise at Cat's Cradle. March 19th, Mickey Blanco at King's. March 28th, Flogging Molly at the Ritz. March 31st, The Flaming Lips of the Ritz. Moving on to April. April 1st, Dinosaur Jr. at Cat's Cradle. April 11th, Y at Cat's Cradle. April 14th, Welcome to Night Vale at the Carolina Theater. April 15th, Diet Sig and Daddy Issues at Cat's Cradle Backroom. Again on April 15th, Explosions in the Sky at the Orange Peel. April 20th, The Shins at the Ritz. April 20th and the 21st, Steve Martin and Martin Short at the Durham Performing Arts Center. And finally, April 28th, Sarah Shook and the Disarmers at Cat's Cradle Backroom. And so while we're having so much fun, let's move on to some Atlanta events. On March 7th, Deaf Heaven and This Will Destroy You and Emma Ruth Rundle at Masquerade. March 18th, At the Drive-In at the Tabernacle. March 20th, Oathbreaker at the Earl. Moving on to April. April 1st, Horse the Band and Graf Orlock at the Drunken Unicorn. April 4th, Thursday with Basement and Touche Amore at Masquerade. And finally, April 8th, Y at Terminal West. That's about it for events. So let's move on to Eric Ginsberg's monthly news in 30 seconds. My name is not Eric Ginsberg. I do not write for Triad City Beat. But hey, it's me again. So we messed up. Eric Ginsberg did everything right and got us his news, but by the time we got to editing this episode, unfortunately, we were already a month behind, so all of the news was late, and that is totally our bad, and we apologize to Eric, but he will be back next episode. Until then, I'm going to cover. So here we go. Close to 100 Latino immigrants marched in downtown Greensboro last month to observe the Day Without Immigrants. Across the Triad, immigrants stayed home from work and kept their kids out of school, while many businesses closed to protest President Trump's immigration orders. Many businesses in the area, including Compare Foods, Via Del Mar, and San Luis, closed to honor their immigrant workers. A billboard on I-40 Business West, close to Kernersville, that read, "Real men provide, real women appreciate it," raised complaints last month among many members of the community, including Molly Grace, owner of Clur in downtown Winston-Salem. Grace organized a public demonstration last month that took place under the billboard to express the offensive nature of its message. The billboard has recently been updated to yet another message in the same vein, but Grace has joined forces with the founder of ModCloth to raise the necessary funds for a new billboard that will read, "People of quality, don't fear equality." For more info on how to donate, visit realpeoplebillboard.wordpress.com. Moogfest finally released their long-awaited lineup for this year's festival in Durham that'll take place May 18th through the 21st and will include acts like Flying Lotus, Animal Collective, Derek May, 808 State, Peanut Butter Wolf, and more. Get your weekend passes at moogfest.com. That's it for this month's news. I'm not Eric Ginsberg. Now back to myself. Up next is Static. Static is a segment during which we read approved advertisement submissions in exchange for donations. What are these advertisements? Basically a simple advertisement promoting an event, product, business, band, etc. If you're approved, we'll be reading it on air during the episodes. We still haven't gotten any yet. You'll be sent a PayPal link to submit the donation. You can email us at bandwidth@amplifiergso.com. Your donations will be donated to Chords, QORDS. But what is Chords? Chords stands for Queer-Oriented Radical Days of Summer and is a week-long overnight summer camp for queer and trans youth or youth of LGBTQ families, with a special focus on youth in the South. Young people from ages 12 to 17 form bands and write songs to perform at the end of the week of camp and attend workshops on issues related to creative expression, gender identity, and sexual orientation. We chose to send our donations to Chords because Amplifier also finds creativity, leadership, and confidence as some of the most important traits one should hold. We're proud to support Chords in their journey to express gender and sexuality and harbor an environment for self-expression and social change. For more information, you can visit www.chords.org, and that is QORDS.org. And, of course, if you'd like to reach out, we have, of course, AmplifierGSO.com. You can look us up on Facebook at Amplifier Zine. Instagram and Twitter are both AmplifierGSO. Emails, you can send questions, podcast ideas, or any info based on, here we're new in Atlanta and Georgia, so let us know about stuff going on. You can email us at bandwidth@amplifiergso.com. And, we're trying to get that hashtag Twitter thing. I don't quite understand Twitter completely, but we're trying to do a hashtag that's bandwidthGSO if you find anything cool going on, especially, like I said, in Georgia, because we're still kind of getting our feet on the ground here. So thank you very much for listening, and up next is our interview. Thank you very much. Hey guys, welcome to the interview portion of Bandwidth. Today in the studio we have Camilo Perdomo and Evan McIntyre. Camilo is the Senior Art Director at Pace Communications, a well-known artist in Winston-Salem and Greensboro, and a member of Art Nouveau Winston-Salem, an affiliate of the Winston-Salem Art Council. Evan McIntyre is a Durham-based illustrator. He works part-time at the Makery, which is a studio space, and sometimes teaches classes in art and is a stay-at-home dad. Thank you guys for being with us today.
Good to see you guys. Hello.
Yeah, you
Thanks
too.
for having us. Thanks for thinking of us.
I've kind of given a little synopsis of you guys, but if you could go into detail about how you guys came about into art and give a better synopsis of yourselves.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Let's read what's on the back of your book.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel it would be great if I told your story and I just made it up, and then you told my story.
Oh man, where did you come from?
I should say, really early on, I fell in love with drawing. So art's been my art creating. It's been great. My parents fully supported me on that, so I've just been going as hard as I can ever since. And right now I'm at a good spot. I get to do apply those skills in an agency kind of setting.
Yeah.
Also, and then after, outside of that, I just get my hands dirty with whatever I can. Mm-hmm. So whether it's painting, illustrating, and you guys know too, I like to do some music videos too.
Oh yeah.
Film was a huge passion since early on. And so that's kind of my thing, man. Anything I can get my hands on, it's fair game. And I'm lucky to be at a point where I can just do that all the time.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Evan McIntyre, and I've a similar background. I think like a lot of like Camilo here. At early childhood, my mother was a big proponent of creative time. And didn't get the video games that I really wanted until I got those creative things out, which was great. I'm really appreciative now. It was aggravating then, but I got plenty of time to play those games now. And
That's what being adults about.
That's right.
More time to play some games, dude.
Game priorities. So, I've had plenty of times to make things out of things, and so everything from crafts to arts of mostly 2D type things, sculpture, all kinds of things like that as well. And just continue to draw. I remember wanting to be an animator for a long time, still might be. That's just a really hard thing to do. So, I think that's something that's interesting because hand in hand with the illustrations that I do. And so I've always drawn and doodled and copied from comic books and, from the cartoons I watch, lots of X-Men, I drew Wolverine a million times and, you know, loved it. So those kind of things. And then, you know, through high school, got into the yearbook staff, did some photography and sort of dabbled in that and did pretty well with that. And I really enjoyed photography as well. In fact, that's where Camilo and I met at UNCG in a photography class a few years ago.
Do you guys remember what you were wearing at the time?
What was I wearing?
Yeah, probably something very
it's really
similar
important
to
stuff.
what I'm wearing
Very
right now.
little, I think.
Yeah.
That's photography class.
It's
That's all we
hot.
need.
Well, it's in a really dark. It's in a dark classroom, so you can go
Yeah,
as whatever you want,
That's
and
right.
you can be whoever you want to be.
Just
Yeah.
want to make sure we knew.
It is the dark room. Yeah.
They do call it a dark room for a reason.
Right. But, you know, from then on, just kind of blossomed into a more focused illustration career, and I've really been hammering out that in the past about 5 years. So it's becoming a viable business, getting more and more freelance work, and I have some product. I do, like, you know, lapel pins, cards, things like that, whatever, art prints. As far as music goes, I mean, I think the main thing is I've just been a fan of music. I've always been surrounded by bands, people in bands. So I've done, like, you know, little things for them, whether it be their album artwork or you know, a t-shirt design or something like that. So I've never actually played an instrument. So that's what's interesting is people, and of course, you can't see me now, but maybe you will one day. I have this long hair and a beard, and people
Maybe
just
you
are like,
will.
Maybe you guys will.
maybe you'll see me.
We're looking at it right now. You guys can't.
but the you know, it was I always got approached for, you know, hey, what can you do? Can you sing? The greatest thing, let me tell this story.
Oh, yeah.
Walked into an Applebee's, and this is like 8 years ago,
Where all shit goes down.
and my wife at the time, before we were married.
Delayed laugh for me. I'm sorry. I forgot how rowdy Applebee's gets. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I hate Applebee's now with a burning passion.
We can only say Applebee's 2 more times
Okay,
or we get
that's
sued,
it.
guys.
I went to this restaurant. Went to this restaurant, and I see these guys, these like metalheads, just looking at me. And I'm a big fan of metal too. I'm just kind of like a little nod, but then they keep looking. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
And they approach me. I mean, they are not even done with their meal. They're not leaving. They just got up.
They approached you inside?
me I'm waiting at the hostess station. She's like, I'm gonna go find you a table.
Yeah.
And my wife is with me at the time, girlfriend of like maybe 6 months, and she's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, and they go, hey, and they're really polite, like, sorry to bother you, but I was just wondering, maybe you could scream in our band. And I was like, scream? And he was like, yeah, you just feel like you would fit. I'm like, I'm sure I do, but I don't scream. But I would love to hear your band at some point. So I get those kind of things
So
sometimes.
they were profiling
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
and you were really
definitely.
upset about it.
Always
So
profiled.
you gotta have the look.
Musically profiled.
Right.
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
These appetizers can wait.
Oh, wow. So anyway, I have a big love of music. I feel like a part of it all the time, even though I don't play an instrument. But yeah, so that's kind of a long-winded story on me. So, yeah.
In your respective music scenes with art and everything involved, what have you guys done with your talents to put toward like the actual music scene of what you guys are into?
Well, I had this idea that I was gonna do music full time when I was a teenager. You know, like many,
course,
like,
of course.
you may
That
have
was
never
it.
heard
That
this.
was
before.
it.
Yeah. Let me tell you a
First time
story.
someone said that to me.
Yeah, wow.
I had a dream.
Dream
once.
big.
I did, and you know, it was a lot of fun. I wouldn't change those times for anything. And so in those days, you know, you have to make your scene. Living in Greensboro at that time, there were a lot of people, you know, that, you know, were constantly going to the tavern, and that was kind of like those days for me.
Taking it back.
Oh yeah,
Sweat?
absolutely.
We're talking sweat.
Oh yeah.
And so I took it upon myself as being also, you know, into the arts and visually inclined to like create a lot of things for my bands growing up. So that was kind of my involvement into merging those worlds. I really wanted to play music, and at the same time I wanted to like showcase that side of myself and be creatively involved with something like that. So that led to a lot of good mistakes. I think, you know, you go back and see that and maybe you followed trends at the time, or, you know, and you were discovering yourself. So that was huge for me. That was a great experience, and that's how I sort of started doing things with music back in the day with MySpace. It's funny, you know, I remember.
MySpace.
You know what was my first class of coding?
Rabbit
I
hole.
actually, if you remember, like
When he said it.
you had to modify your profile, and a lot of it
that
had
was
to be
like
done like clean coding, or you
Exactly,
would download
yeah.
like widgets that would do it.
I remember
And
that
so
too.
us being like, you know,
Really
my band at the
HTML.
time, So we were called Third Party, and we were a ska.
That's such a good name.
We were called a ska punk band.
Perfect.
Absolutely, it just had to be. You know.
There's a whole
many
different
good
side
ska
of you.
punks,
I'm
yeah.
learning about.
Yeah, you know, so I was in jazz band in high school, and in my
okay.
mind, I had this dream that I was gonna like get all those kids into my ska band.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
How did you not have that dream?
I ended up with so imagine I was gonna have like a band of 7 people. Ended up having recruiting 3. So
yeah.
we were just like a
Small ska
regular
band.
guitar, bass, drum setup.
One horn section, single horn.
No,
section.
it was that we never got to that
Oh,
point.
you never got the
actually.
horns.
Almost.
Almost
You
there.
did the mouth horns.
Right. That sounds dirty, man. That's-
Well, that's what it's called. Mouth trumpet, maybe.
Mouth
That's
trumpet,
still
yeah.
bad. That's
Yeah,
still bad.
So MySpace was all pure code, and what I used to do back, you know, Mozilla was kind of big around that time, and they had that developer tool very quickly,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
could see the HTML coding behind
right.
their page, and I just sort of like taught myself from
copied
what
it,
I was
yep.
seeing. I
Yeah.
would put, you know. And, you know, so sorry, guys, like bands out there that were doing it the right way. I learned by, like, you know, I taught kind of those tricks to myself because I was trying to get, you know, and it was things like, I don't know, like an audio player that would show a video at the
Yep.
same time. You know,
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like
No, I got you.
banners,
Yep.
that was a thing. And
It's
so,
advantageous to learn.
yeah, so it was out of necessity that kind of
For
like
sure, yeah,
I had to
yeah.
merge those worlds. And you know, I was also around the same time really heavily into like the punk rock scene and all that. So it started, you know, I didn't have any money really to like buy like band shit or, you know, collateral or anything like that. So I would just make my own T-shirts. That was also out of necessity. Like,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do it
you know,
yourself.
do it yourself.
Yep.
I'm
Like
sorry
Sharpies
again,
and stuff.
like big acts out there, but I just, you know, I just wanted to have those things, and I also thought that I could. It meant more to me because I made the you know, it wasn't
for
it wasn't just
Yeah.
like anybody's like rancid T-shirt. Like
Well, and
I
you're not-
had made
exactly.
it
You're not
You're not
myself.
going to pay anyone to do all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Right,
Yep.
Right. So again, another one of those experiences that, you know, I haven't done screen printing in a while, but it was out of, you know, that necessity of like wanting to do something with music and art at the same time, and so
Man, you did screen printing. I did Sharpies on T-shirts
Yeah.
for my friends' bands, and each shirt would be totally different. But I would do it all night. We would stay up all night with these. Cause my friends happened to be in the bands, and so I was the art guy.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and so like I was always. They were like, "Oh, you draw. You know, you paint. Like, can we maybe get the album cover of this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure," because I love your band or whatever it is, and just pumped to be part of that community. And we did. I remember one of the shirts I made for each of the members was like a I think it was called Sharpie Couture, and it was so I would draw like Gucci on one, and just like Sharpie in some kind of picture, and the next one would be Prada, and like just all these
Oh,
stupid shit.
nice.
But it was so shitty. It was like left-handed drawing, me being right-handed.
Yeah.
But it looked great. I remember back looking, I was like, man, that's kind of cool. I gotta find that shirt.
if you find
But-
those, you could probably sell them
so
like
great.
in New
Oh,
York
for
somewhere,
so
you know,
much
and
now.
people will be like, oh,
Yeah,
the new
yeah, it was just
craze.
great because like I remember
aesthetic,
we
man.
loved it, and yeah, there's a few people that got it, but then, you know, a lot of other people were like, well, it's just Prada. I'm like, well, that's the joke.
Yeah,
like, that's the
yeah.
joke.
Exactly. I think some bands get
why do I have to
scared, like
explain
they
it?
see how much things could cost, and when they want to do merch and they want to get stuff together to help promote their band and get some stuff out there to people, they forget that it's like just get like a 30 rack and like get some shirts over at
Yeah.
AC Moore or at
Yeah.
Value Village or something.
Oh, yeah.
Go just get
DIY it.
creative, and then bring them out and set up your merch and just let people know, like, hey, we did these ourselves, guys. Everyone's gonna be different.
we-
Some of them might have some blood, sweat, and other stuff on them, but you know, we did it ourselves. And,
We're that's even more advantageous is that we're in that DIY mentality anyway.
Yes.
Like everyone's
Without doubt.
crafting their own thing now. I mean, all the markets I do with my illustrations, selling my stuff there. You know, next to me is a soap maker, and then there's like a lotion maker over there, and then a pottery, and everyone does this stuff, and it's all good. Like it's all it's not all good. There's a lot out there that,
But it's all good.
but they're
all good.
but they're doing it, you know. But no, some great stuff. So you know,
Yeah.
I think people appreciate that DIY thing even more now.
I hope, God,
well,
I seriously do.
seems
without
like
a-
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it does
Yeah.
seem like it. So I hope it just keeps like. There's just a sense of that DIY that's so pure and sincere, and I think if bands could like hop on that and realize that it really helps you build a community instead of like reaching for the stars immediately with like,
Right.
build up around you, get some people around, and just put out a little bit of creativity. And sure, it may not be perfect, and it may not be what you send away for to get like 100 shirts back. But you know what? It's about just connecting with your fans and showing them that you want to do something, even if you don't have a lot of cash. You know?
And I'm sure, like maybe like with music, like some of your demo tapes early on, you look back at those or listen to those, and you're like, where did I come from?
You're like, hey.
Similarly with sketchbooks, I was just looking through some sketchbooks from like even 5 years ago, and I was like, what was I drawing with a crayon?
Who is this person?
You look through notebooks,
I'm like,
oh God, who was I? What is this?
I couldn't even draw a rabbit. Like it was just like it looked terrible. So you grow too, and I think that's what bands need to know. Is like you're gonna start off. You can't be immediately professional.
Exactly.
Like
right.
And even with money, like people are gonna see through that. Like if you happen to have
absolutely,
they see through that. You got to grow in some ways, and so I think it's even better with that struggle.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll use this example to get into our next point. I was at my uncle's this past weekend, and we were just talking about records and stuff. We're going to break into his stuff later on, and we were just talking about I just gotten a bunch of stuff in the mail, and we were talking about how one of the best parts is not even having the vinyl; it's just having the artwork.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
so
artwork
important.
is such a huge there's just so many. You see an album cover, and it brings way more than just the music to mind. It brings a headspace and can create just an atmosphere for the album without even listening to it. And I just want you guys to talk a little about the importance of art and music, both in aesthetic and, going down to album art like that.
No, I mean, album covers like that and sort of the physicality of the record, even if it's, I would say until very recently I had a actual record player, but even, with CDs back in the day, I would literally sit on my parents' couch, put on the CD, and then just listen to the music while looking at the booklet. And that meant, I was as a fan, but I was like really kind of analyzing and enjoying it in the moment too.
Right.
That has a lot of value to me. It always has. So I can imagine now it's tough when, if you're putting out things digitally to recreate that feeling.
Exactly.
There are, there's new platforms for that, I feel like. But to me, having the record, like you said, just puts you in the set of mind. It's your intro card to the record.
It's a collectible item. It's something you can display and see real. Like, we live in, unfortunately, we have any music we want at our fingertips, in our phone, in our car, in Montana, wherever we are, as long as
it's a button press.
It's literally a button press, and you don't look at the artwork half the time. But what's funny is now because we grew up in that age, a lot of us, and maybe some of you listeners too, you grow up in this age of, you pick out the CD or the album, and the part of that really drew you into it if you didn't know who that band was.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking through like Spotify or whatever it is, and like I kind of look for the album cover first.
Absolutely.
I'm like, that's the one. That's the one.
I want to check this out. Yep.
Yeah, and so I'm really glad that they kept that in, and I guess Apple really did that with their I guess the color iPod. Eventually, they really pushed that album art, and I thought that was really cool. But there is sort of a loss. And so I think things like I think one album that I thought was really cool was Childish Gambino's Because the Internet. Like that album really like pushed. They had a physical release of that was a really cool sort of package. The whole thing was interesting. He had a script. He had like a short film. He had all this stuff that went together, and even the album artwork. That's hard to say in this hot room, but album artwork. All went together. It's very cohesive, and I thought that was kind of connecting back to what we were saying before about sort of DIY and this craft world we live in, which is great now as well. People want that kind of thing too.
Of course.
They want that collectible piece, or sort of this. I don't know. It's something definitely more visceral than just the music.
Yeah.
It adds another layer to the music.
Yeah, it almost creates a narrative for that you might not even know is there.
Yeah.
If you hadn't looked at it otherwise.
You go to like, and the example I was because I was thinking about this earlier, and I was I thought about the beer industry. Talk about so
craft brews,
craft brewing, so, which ties in what we're talking about, but so much of like the label design.
Oh, it's crazy.
Makes me already kind of imagine the taste of the beer.
Oh yeah,
I don't know about
like
you.
21st Amendment beer. Look that up.
Yeah,
they have amazing illustrations.
Yeah.
Prairie Artisanales out of like Oklahoma, I think it is.
Yeah.
Incredible. Obviously, these are heavily illustrated stuff. So it's
there's the Ralph Steadman influence
right.
beer.
But even anything like like Wicked Weed, also very illustrative. But even Sierra Nevada,
great
which is,
design.
you know,
They have like a classic look, but still updated.
there's something about it begins with the choice of colors,
Right.
even, you know, the font, the thickness of the lines, everything is already kind of, to me, making me create this idea of flavor in my mind,
Right,
which
definitely.
is really interesting
Yeah.
because with an album cover, I think a successful one, you're not trying to see the music, you're trying to feel it before
Definitely,
anything.
yeah.
And so that to me is the value that you have to put on as a musician on an
Yeah.
album cover. You
Absolutely.
Yeah.
what sort of headspace do I want to put this fan before they even listen to a note? You know, and what's interesting that you guys were talking about is that and that's great. You were that guy. Like, where were you when I was
What?
into bands, like as a teenager?
was
Because
in-
I had to do that by
I
myself.
was in Florida, but
Yeah.
growing
Way to
up
go,
in
dude.
Florida, I was a Florida man or boy at that
A
time.
Floridian, if you will.
Floridian, yes.
A boy yet not a man.
A Florida. Yeah, let's
That's
be
the
real.
alumni group.
904, shout out.
Well, you know, because it's interesting. As much as I like the fact that I took that upon myself, I think it's really great when bands have a collaborator.
Definitely.
Because,
Yes.
again, one of the reasons I love being in bands is because I was in a hot room like this,
Oh yeah.
trying to create something with 3 other creatives
Yeah.
and trying to get in that headspace, and those accidents, man. I mean, that's what made it like a thrill to me. It wasn't really what I was sometimes bringing to a table. That made, like, I would practice my things to be like better in front of my friends, but it was really them bringing their creativity that made me excited to make something.
Collaboration.
So when you
is
do that with an
huge.
artist, when you have that ability to do that with an artist as a band, absolutely take it. You know, go out and find somebody that you like their style, or somebody you've heard about.
Yes.
Maybe a friend of a friend. Maybe you don't have this person in your circle yet, but go out and introduce yourself to them and show them what you believe
Talk
in.
to any remote fans that you have already, you know, that are come to these shows, and if you see that repeat face, get to
Agree.
know them.
Networking, it's just exactly.
You
Just
have no idea what networking.
never
you can do.
know what.
And
you're gonna
I'm
talk
not
to them,
saying like
what might
open
happen.
your welcome mat to anybody to
course,
come in and do your thing,
Definitely,
yeah.
because I
smart
feel
about
like
it, of course.
you have to
Yeah.
be protective about your craft. But obviously you'll know better when you know the
Yeah.
right person, right?
Right.
And so and when you do it really, and like I said, reach high. I don't remember the emails that I get that say no. I usually just remember the yes. You know, so
Yeah.
so
Well, because you
I-
send out 1 million emails, and there's like what, you know, the majority, 90% of them are no's.
right. I
This is
mean,
how it
it's
The
so
hustle,
so.
you know.
And I think when you come from an honest place as a creator, that if there's that person on the other side, you're gonna be thankful that you got, you know, that you reached to them in that
Right.
level. So best of luck to you guys out there and finding that.
I wanted to speak about branding for a second, especially when it comes to musicians, solo or not. When you start out playing music, and for me, when I started playing music, for me it was about being with my friends, ordering pizza, watching porn, just chilling out, just enjoying life, just being goofy, and writing stuff that may not even have any kind of significance or sincerity, but just like rocking out and having fun. And then you're like, couple months go by, whatever, and you realize is this just a hobby, or is this something I really want to keep pursuing and doing? Is it in my heart so much? Obviously from the late 90s, 2005 to now, like branding and what we can use when it comes to social media and everything has changed dramatically. I still believe branding is beyond important when it comes to that, and how you go about getting your stuff off the ground, and what to do with it when it comes to your promos, to where you record, and how you want to like make yourself known in social media. Do you guys feel it's more important than ever to keep branding and consideration?
I think completely. I think it's a weird struggle. If you don't enjoy doing it, you're gonna have to learn how. That's what I've had to do. I went through the MySpace phase of posting everything I did, or I guess that wasn't even MySpace. That was the beginnings of Facebook, where it was like where it had the question, or you. How was it worded? I can't even remember now.
Mind?
Yeah, something like that.
That was a
No,
rhetorical question.
It said like your name. So it was like Evan McIntyre is, and and then
Oh,
you would
yeah.
fill it in. Remember
Yeah,
that?
I remember
And
that.
I remember like everybody talked in that way, and like I would update it, and then after a while I was like, why am I doing this? Like I'm done doing this. So I got out of that headspace. But as an illustrator, that needs to be seen in order to be given work.
Of course.
And for me to do stuff, I have to be back in that this world, and it is immediate. It's every day, and if you don't tag it right, if you don't hit the right times, like it's weird.
Exactly.
It's like after work, before work, you need to like
there's
general
a blueprint
times.
to it.
Yeah, there
to
really
hit
is.
those right
and
spots.
so I think it's incredibly important to keep that sort of that momentum once you start going. And sure, it'll take off by itself at some point if you're successful enough. But the groundwork, we all want to be discovered. Let's be real. Like, I mean, we all want to just, okay, I want some eccentric billionaire to come out and say, I'm going to pay for whatever it is.
Exactly.
Classes for you to get better as well because you suck right now. But I see, but that's really rare and mostly in stories. Like, most bands worked hard. Most artists work hard. And so that's part of it is this. And it is kind of like coming from like an older, I mean, like, not that I'm not old, but definitely from a non-social media thing to what it is, how consistent it is now. How you got to, and so, and also one thing I thought was really cool advice somebody told me. I was trying to pick all these things. I was like, oh, I should do Twitter, I should do this, and the person that was kind of giving me advice was like, well, which one do you actually use and feel the best doing? I was like, well, Instagram's real easy. And she's like, just do that. She's like, just do it. Don't force yourself to do Twitter if you can't do Twitter.
Exactly.
Or don't force yourself to update Facebook as well if it's going to be half-assed, and like really focus on the one and cultivate it. So
no, you're right. It's I think it's a little bit like winning the lottery. So you have to you can't go into a headspace of being like, I have this many albums in me before I give up.
Right.
I don't think anybody that wanted to do anything successfully gave themselves that sort of like challenge. Yeah. It's always great to have your own expectations, of course. And we all do as like the sensitive artists that we are deep inside. But I think, it's something you care about. So branding and in the days we live with these platforms, you just if you're not gonna do 5 of them, 6 of them, whatever it is, or 2, 1, just make sure that it goes out there with quality and there's thought, just like you do with your music, right?
Also, people are majority of they're visual in nature. They're not gonna investigate and read the bios. They're gonna look first.
Very much.
Very
so.
And so that goes back to our album arts, and really hopefully people see something that gets their
grabs
attention.
them. Attracts them.
Same thing with your band's branding and identity.
Yes.
It is a business. You got to think of it that way. It may not be a big business, and that's fine if you don't ever want to get that big. But in order to be even remotely successful, you got to have some sort of continuity, and that can be something as simple as just a good logo, and have that for your band, or a good look for your band, whatever that part is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's super important too.
Got to own
that
it.
continuity. Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
So we're about out of time. I'm gonna get to our last point here, which I think you guys, since you're in such a huge network of artists, could you give listeners who are musicians on these points that we're making resources that they can use to kind of get out there and find branding, get in touch with artists and stuff like that?
I'll tell you first what to stay away from, and please stay away from the 99 Designs websites. Like it's a website, and there's multiple now, and there's even like apps that have these. I think one's called 99 Designs, and what it is you as a band or business put what you want, and then all these other artists, graphic and illustrators and designers will bid on it, and it's this like set price at like $99 or something like that. So you end up getting, and in one way it can work. Like if I don't know, I think it cheapens the brand. I think it cheapens the artwork. Some of them are really shady in their dealings too, because this website is making millions off of your hard work, and you're making maybe $100 for that work. And so it kind of goes both ways. You also you pay what you get for. So the bands that are looking for this, I say stay away from it, because it's rare that you can get something really good out of that. Get ready to actually pay what you want, what you're gonna get back.
Of course.
Yeah.
And or I don't know. Anyway, so that's something to stay away from, I think, is those kind of things. They're gimmicky, and sure, like we were talking about before, you don't have much money, you want to get it done now. Maybe wait for it for a second, and like wait until you find maybe these other networking things we're gonna tell you about.
Yeah, no, I
resources.
think more than just networking is finding do your work to go out and find the people that you want to take your vision. So and again, don't if it's a project out of passion, it's gonna pay off. Regardless of how many people see it, you're gonna be proud of it if you are able to find a collaborator that can really kind of hear what you want to do, have a sensibility to that, but also put their vision on it. That's probably because again, just like you do in music, collaborating, that's gonna show itself with whatever visual work you're getting done by someone outside of that group. So I would say just come from that honest creative place. That's honestly what I do every time I want to reach out to anybody about doing something together. If Evan knows this, I just get excited about doing a project together, and me and him have kicked out. I know every time we hang out, I look forward to, because it's probably the most productive time that I get without just hanging out, and I'm just really hanging out with my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm glad that this is gonna record it. I wish I could I'm gonna get a copy of this, right?
No.
Of course.
Alec will make sure of that. Sorry, I saw on the paper here.
You get the 8-track print.
Right.
We don't give it to them.
Yeah. We don't collaborate in that level.
$9.99.
Start the bidding.
Always a cost, guys. Hey, you get what you pay for.
We're gonna upload it to one of those art sites you're talking about.
No,
they're gonna bid on it.
Well, but speaking of another good resource, use your social media to your advantage. There's tagging for a reason. It's easy to find subject matter that you are interested in.
Very true.
So if you're a band that wants some bear on your album, you want like a furry bear on your album, look up that stuff on Instagram and there's tons of artists out there that are struggling, beginning, that want that sort of that time, or also are established, and that's the look you. Okay, I want that.
Yeah.
Behance is another good website. BEHANCE. I think it's like Adobe Push or something. It's a portfolio website.
Nice. Okay.
I think Dribble is another one. There's a lot of these like websites where, or like something like Instagram, where a lot of everything's tag related, so it's easy to find stuff if you know what you're kind of looking for, and just browse it. It's easy to browse, and I mean we have downtime all the time. Take 10 minutes as you're going to bed and browse through those tags. Yeah. Look, and then as soon as you find something, send them a message and communicate well. Respond to emails timely. Yeah. I mean, I can't say how many things I've not done because I have gotten no communication back.
Right,
but
exactly.
I'm ready and
you
willing
put something
to work.
out, you put this thing together, and you're waiting. You're like,
just waiting. So that's another thing.
Everything right.
Yeah. This is like advice time from dad. See, I'm a new dad, so I'm giving those advice out. It's advice. Also,
listen, kids.
Eat your vegetables.
Oh man, dad column. We should do that.
Yeah. I'll be your dad column.
If anyone's been listening and enjoys your gentlemen's voices and personalities, how could they get in touch with you guys if they want to drop a line and talk to you about some stuff or anything?
You can find me on Instagram, my website. Everything is eBrownM. That's EBROWNM as in monkey at the end there. Camilo, how can they find you?
I'm not on the internet, so
well then.
Everything I talked about, no idea what.
Seriously.
No. I'm sure there'll be a good old link in with this episode. So nowadays it's really easy to just find me through my Instagram. It's talk about those platforms. It's lately, to show my portfolio is funny. I definitely just pull up my Instagram because.
Can we say your name?
Yeah. So my profile is Scamilo, SKAMILO, and number 14. Should I have done that? Do I need to repeat it?
Very nice.
Repeat the name because I think I talked over it.
Okay, so taking it back to my roots, back in third party. I really did get this nickname back in the day.
Bring this band
it was Scamilo 14. So SKAMILO and number 14.
14.
Beautiful.
Scamilo.
I tried to buy Scamilo.com a couple of years ago, and if the person that owns it has it and is listening to this episode,
we'll interview you next.
Yeah, you can be on the show.
We'll have
like a sort of like Maury sort of
format. We'll have an intervention.
That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good.
Tonight.
In the cage.
Oh man, yeah. That's honestly, you may want to put this back, but go out and buy your domain first thing.
Oh, for sure.
Once you settle on your band name, go and buy your domain. It'll be $12 for a year.
Exactly.
And if you guys fizzle out afterwards, you still, you can sell it out, or you never know.
Also, coming from a fan of music that looks for it, when you pick a really common name, you're very hard to find.
Absolutely.
So just keep that in mind too. Yeah. When you pick like keyboard, or whatever, I don't know, it's just something very, very basic. It's going to be difficult to find, and your hopes are that you'll get big enough that that'll be your first result.
Yeah.
But initially,
Google's not going to do any favors.
Yeah.
No.
So.
If you could type in keyboard and your band keyboard comes up above keyboard, the instrument,
then you're fine.
Well.
Yeah, you're fine.
Everything's great. So.
And you can come back to me. I'm sure you'll find me and say, "See, I can do common names."
Take that,
Dad.
Well, thank you guys very much for being in the studio with us. This has been really awesome.
Yeah.
This has been Camilo Perdomo and Evan McIntyre. They just told you how you can get in touch with them. There will be links on this episode on our website to get to all of their stuff as well. And we just thank
Daryl,
you guys.
and that's Alec. He's talking. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's been great, guys.
And that's
Thank
our
you.
names. And it's hot in here. We
It is
talked
hot.
about how the room was. It
think
got
this-
like nice and stuffy,
should
but like in a
change-
sexual way,
I
right?
think you should change the name to the podcast name to the Hot Room. Like it should be the Hot Room.
I had a radio show back at UNCG like a couple years ago called the Hot Carl. So if any of my fans are listening,
They are.
Deep cut.
Hot Carl.
Thanks so much for being here, guys. This is awesome.
Thanks
No
for having
problem.
me.
Thanks for having us.
This has been episode 3 of Bandwidth. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye, everyone.
bye bye.